Welcome to Caught Up with Candace, the podcast where we catch up on all the unfiltered topics and discussions that you want to talk about. So sit back, relax, and get caught up with Candace. Let's jump into today's episode.
Hi guys, how's it going? Here we are back again. And for those of you guys that were with us last time, we were in our Men's Mental Health Month where we had Miss Elizabeth Overstreet and Anthony Gonzalez, our relationship expert and our trauma therapist for therapists. So if you have not already, definitely tune into that episode. And here today, I brought some amazing gentlemen that both do extraordinary things for the community. I am going to start right here with Francky Pierre-Paul, born in New Jersey and raised in Palm Beach County, Florida. Frank Pierre-Paul graduated from Forest Hill High School and Palm Beach Atlantic University with a background in community service and youth development. He has worked with the Palm Beach County School Board and the Police Athletic League. Since 2019, Frankie has led a different shade of love, improving the lives of homeless neighbors through events like health fairs and food drives. Thank you so much for that. Love. Also, recognized for his dedication, Frankie has received the Local Hero Award, the Senator Lewis Public Service Award, and has been named one of Miami's 40 under 40. North Miami Beach also proclaimed Francky Pierre-Paul Day in his honor. That's amazing. He also works and embodies his belief in dignity and second chances, inspiring positive changes in the community and beyond.
Love.
Wow, that's extensive. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Also, today that we have Mansa, a visionary in consumer advocacy and financial literacy, dedicating to helping people break free from debt with his principle, the more you know, the less you pay. His work has transformed countless lives, preventing evictions and securing financial stability for many. With over 60 members in his course, Mansa makes financial knowledge accessible to all. Very important. So welcome. How are you guys today?
How are you guys doing today?
Amazing.
Great.
I have to ask, you guys are doing amazing things for the community. I checked both of you guys out, and that's just amazing. I love to see Black men just doing amazing in their community. We need that. We definitely need that. And I have to ask you, Frankie, how did you get into this? Is there something in your life that made you want to get into being such an impactful part of your community?
Just experience, my journey. Okay. A lot of times I always say this when I speak, when I get a chance to a platform where I can really parlay. I always used to question God, why do I look so young? Right? Why do I look so young where I get in the room where I got to show the gift or the anointing that you have on me? And it's because of every single generation that's coming after me will be able to relate. So the more and more I get older, the more and more I gain experience, and the more and more I can go back and then leave a jewel along the way, leave a jewel during the journey. So when they pick it up, dang, Frank, that's not. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but we could tap in deeper later on today.
No, I would
love
to.
So we could, most
and
that, but experience.
Okay, and even for you, just being here and just making it your goal, financial literacy, for me, I think is very important, and it could change your life. And I've just tapped in, just stepping my foot in. What drove you more to share with people? Why is it that you want to make it community driven so that you can change lives?
Well, I would say before I even thought about anybody else's life, I was thinking about mine. I was working from job to job, working 84 hours a week, and I always told myself, it got to be something to this. I don't think I'm supposed to be working to live. So the information is really what changed my life. So when I started diving into the information and started seeing, okay, if there's different laws I can apply, all right, I don't have to abide by what they're telling me to do. I can change my contract. I got rights to change my contract. So when I started understanding contract, and that deals with every aspect of life, relationships, business, your kids, okay, they're it's everything. So I would say my individual want for more in life and not wanting to work, that's what kind of drove me. Okay. So then that would bring the people on, okay, this is helping other people. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Seeing them changing their lives to change, they're oh man, this information. It's not even money, not even having to give somebody money, just give somebody information.
Exactly.
So I feel that's what was revolution from there for me.
Nice. I always say knowledge is not just power. Applied knowledge is power. Like literally, it's like I could give you the blueprint right now. You wouldn't know what to do with it if you're not gonna read through it and really apply it. And then it's just like that consistency. That consistency is really gonna drive those results. Like,
no, absolutely.
We tend to have like those business talks all the time. Just like, yes, we just need to stay on top of it. Stay on top of it.
Yeah, but saying it and then actually doing it, that's a whole nother thing, you know? And that's amazing because I feel like you're giving a lot of advice that some people don't want us to know. Yeah. Like you were hitting a lot of key points that I want to get into that I was like, if somebody heard him saying that, they were like, yo, you telling them too much. Like they don't want us to know that because they don't want our people to be on top. Like I was just telling my son this the other day. We're in the car and he's like, Mommy, what do you do for work? Because he sees that I don't get up and I don't work 9 to 5 every day. I'm an entrepreneur. And I was like, baby, the goal is to wake up, have people that work for you. You're not clocking in somewhere, and that's the goal. And he was like, okay, like, you know, I'm trying to teach him, like you said, you went from working so many hours a week to having this knowledge to teach other people to do something different. And I feel like that's amazing. I feel like that's amazing. And also, Frankie, I must ask you, can you share with our listeners your journey from growing up becoming a prominent figure in the community service and youth development in the Palm Beach County, Florida?
Yeah, most def. So I would say my journey started probably like when I was 16 years old when I first experienced homelessness, right? And for me, at that time, it was more so masking that. Like, if I go to school and I let people know, like, hey, this is what I got going on or whatever. And let me go back a little bit. I always like to say, like, I didn't experience homeless because my parents didn't love me. It's because I didn't understand that at that time. Like, I grew up in a Haitian background. It was church Monday through Sunday. There ain't no such thing as dances. There ain't no such thing as going on a field trip. Ligley's church, period. If you ain't talking about it, it's devil. So, like, I was conditioned that way. So when I tapped into the word, I'm like, dang, like, and it was church hurt. I forgave myself, not only myself, but my pastor for everything, like, I've been through because of that life-changing decision he made that was so impactful to my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? So fast forward, I realized that when we talk about homelessness, right, we always see people holding up signs. We always see people, like, strung out, but we never think about the people that basically sleeping on your couch when you wake up in the morning because they need, you know, another 3 months, 4 months to catch up.
Wow. Right.
So by definition, that's homelessness. So yeah, I could dress up, I could smell good, I could look good, I could have all the necessary tools, I could get a bus pass. I know about the people that can't. Correct. So that's why, like, I try to voice that because a lot of us don't understand that. And then when we start to talk about it, it's like, but you don't look homeless. What you mean you're homeless? You never said nothing. Why would I?
Exactly.
So we're making it okay to speak on when you're going through those trials and tribulations. Like, it's okay to parlay with somebody because you may have the answer. Yeah. Exactly. Me sitting here, I never told you. And I go back to God and be like, dang, like, you ain't never tap in with me. Like, man, I put that girl in your face, that boy in your face every day. Because of your pride, you ain't never tap in. So I try to always be that voice of reason.
And I love that. And I commend you for that. To come from that place and not just, like, overcome it, but doing something about the people that are going through those similar things with your foundations and stuff like that is amazing. And I try to tell people, like, growing up in Chicago, I was always that little girl walking down East State Street. I would take the coat off my back and give it to a homeless person. Or if I didn't, like, to this day, like, I always tell myself, like, sometimes a homeless person could come up to me and I'd be like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm $1 short being right next to you sometimes. You know, I'm gonna keep it real with you. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I watched this movie, and what the movie was, it was this sergeant in the Air Force. He got, like, blown up by, like, an ATV or whatever, and he got put on prescription drugs and got addicted and ended up a panhandler. A lot of people don't know there's levels to, like, you can't look at a person and be like, you're homeless, you must be on drugs, you must be lazy. You don't know what this person, you don't know if they have if they're schizophrenic, bipolar disorder, multiple personality, depression, that doesn't give them that mindset to go out and get it like us. So, like, before I even met you, my biggest dream was I wanted to do, like, a restoration project for the homeless people. Like, I want to, like, go up to a homeless person and be like, hey, do you want help? And if they agree to it, let's go get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, and to see somebody like you actually doing that makes me so happy. Like
From
that's
glory to
literally
glory.
my dream, like
Most
to do
def.
something like that. So we definitely gonna get together and get into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and I could relate because growing up in New York, and that's where I was originally born, my mom always tells me the story whenever it comes down to homelessness. I've always questioned, like, what is it? Why? Like, I always wanted to understand, how do people even get there? Fast forward now, last year, and she could, my witness, 8 months, I lost my place. And I was just like, okay, so what now? And I just trying to figure it back out and literally rebuilded everything. And it stood. My faith was like, one thing, it was me and God, and I was yelling, God got me. I don't even care. And people are just like, what is it that you're doing? You don't have your car, you don't have your place. I have my 3 kids, and just trying to figure it all out. And it took some time, of course, and as you said, to open up. I learned in that season of my life to make that open space for people, to let them know, like, yeah, the way that I show up, just like we can show up any way. You can show up however you want. And it's just like looking for that, being resourceful, trying to figure it out. Like, and to have just that is just amazing, because it's just giving somebody else that hope, being that open door, being that voice of reason, to just let them know it is okay. Sometimes you're going to go through it, and it's not the end of the world. And I just could relate on that aspect, because I'm just like, dang, I just remember being young, being in the street, figuring out how, and then actually being in time here, like, okay, so now that we're here, what do we do? And being able to apply everything, like I've said, I learned, you know what to do. Now do it.
But some people don't learn that way. Some people like it takes like 20 times. It takes like 30 times. So you can't put that limit on that person. Oh, I just gave you $1 yesterday. Like, why you still here? Nah, it may take $100.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
and that's my thing. Like, whenever my rule is, if I have cash in my bag, I'm giving it. Like, if I see somebody, and I tell my kids, I was like, does anybody have $1? If I have money in my car, I'm giving it up. I found there was $20. I was like, today's your lucky day. She's like, God bless you. Like, look. However it happens, and that's just a rule of thumb that I go by.
And I've heard people say, like, no, don't give them your money. You're like treating a drug habit and stuff like that. Rest in peace to Enchanting. I don't know if you guys know the one that was signed to Gucci.
Yes.
I actually had the pleasure of working with her. They flew me out to Beverly Hills, and I got to do a video with her and Coley Ray. Amazing girl, like one of the most down-to-earth women I ever met. And she died not by drug overdose, but withdrawals. Like, a lot of people don't know. Like, I hate to say this, like, that last bit of money could be saving their life, because you don't know what type of withdrawal, what type of situation that they're gonna get in. Exactly. Like, y'all don't really know the deep message behind that. Like, so I always think about that.
That is crazy. I want to go ahead and ask you a question in regards to your advisory, H.O.O.D Advisory. What motivated you to focus more on the people? You know, I see individuals online, they have a target audience. And I know that is your target audience, but sometimes I know that people are not ready to apply that information. Sure. So, like, being in that field of just advising them, having your course where people are investing to get some information, and even the free information that you give, what made that your target audience?
Started seeing, because after I learned the information for myself, I started applying it to my rent that I had in South Carolina. So once I was able to use information to pay for my whole rent,
it changed your life.
On a whole different mindset. So I'm around people that start saying, like, oh my gosh, I'm facing eviction. So now I got I ain't gonna say recipe, but I got the resources where, hey, go read this right here.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are saying, like, just help me, write it for me. I can't write it for you, because that's your individual path.
Yes.
That's not what we're here for. If you can't learn this on your own, you're not an adult. So I'm reading from law.
Correct.
Law states if you're 18 or over and have capacity to contract, makes you an adult.
Yes.
But if you're 18 or over and you don't have capacity to contract, you're a child in the state's eyes.
Wow.
So it's deep on business. So we know public things, but there's a private way of doing business that we are lacking, because we went to public schools and learned public information, which is great.
Fact.
But we didn't learn the private information from our parents, because they didn't know.
Yes.
So once I cracked that, and I was like, oh, snap, okay. Now I can help folks with they're facing repos. I can help folks with evictions. I can help folks with facing foreclosures, tax garnishments, because it's all contracting. So when I seen that, I'm like, oh, man, it literally forced me to have a business. I didn't even have a business at first.
But you were so hungry for it, like, oh, I got to figure this out, and I can.
Many people was like, I'm like, damn, I got to make an LLC. I got to start.
I'm over here like, can we talk after
I know. I want to learn the same thing.
Like, can I get your
how
course?
much time do we got?
No, seriously, like, can I sign up for the course after this?
There's a lot of information, but like you were saying, it's applied information. It's applied because you can get a lot of information, be sitting on it. I call that an information junkie.
Yeah.
Being a person that got a lot of information, you can sit with them. They know a lot about a lot of things, but they haven't applied anything.
Correct.
So they can only take you so far. So, but when you really apply this information, you really start seeing it change your life. Like, you start thinking different. You start seeing different. Literally, people that you thought was cool, it's like, it ain't cool to me no more.
Oh,
I know certain things now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can definitely agree with that. Sometimes I'm just like, what? I'm staying inside.
No, literally. Absolutely.
The next. How do you see your intersection between the financial literacy and the social empowerment, especially in underprivileged communities?
Underprivileged communities, I look at it kind of different. I look at underprivileged communities as being uninformed communities.
Correct.
A lot of people look at it like it's money, money, money. It's really information. When you don't have certain information, you're going to keep putting yourself in certain situations. It's not really money because you can keep giving somebody money all day, all day, all day. If they don't have information to get out of this aspect of having to receive money,
correct,
they're never going to learn. So I would say this information will impact a lot of folks, and it's free. I don't want anybody to think, I got to buy this, I got to buy that.
Yeah, no.
It's free. All you got to do is pay attention. So technically, it's not free.
Wow.
Well, and and I hope that you guys take advantage of that. You guys definitely have to tap into him because it's like to give that free information and just like you said, have it. It's not really going to do much, but to pay attention, some people just because it's free, they don't. They're half listening. That's like I'm here, but I ain't really here.
Hold on. Oh, let me make sure I got this straight. So you're telling me all of these gems that you're dropping is free?
It's totally free.
So somebody like one of my followers or her followers watching right now, if they slide in your DM today, hey, I want this information, there's no catch behind it?
Well, the thing is, they don't even got to slide on my DM. They can really just go to the top of the page.
Okay, go to the top of your page.
I can literally tell you a code right now to write down.
Yeah.
There's a code called 12 USC 1431. It's powers and duties of the bank. A lot of people don't understand interest. When you talk to a person about their car and ask them, look at their contract on the APR part, it says interest rate. So when you ask a person who's supposed to pay who on interest rate, a lot of people say, well, I'm supposed to pay the bank back. No law says you're supposed to pay the bank's interest. There is a law that says that the banks are supposed to pay interest, and that's 12 USC 1431. See, that's just a starter. See, a lot of people's going to read this information and try to use what they already done built up to try to understand. That's where they go wrong. You literally got to
unlearn
everything you thought you knew. It really comes to a point like,
reprogramming.
dang, I didn't know anything. Let me kind of read the law, because the law is going to tell me how to move.
Correct.
Not the bank, not my mom, not my dad, not my best friend.
Correct.
Okay, no offense, in a lot of financial advisors, if they're not teaching interest and how to use interest to pay accounts, then I say they're uninformed. That's just my opinion, because no law says you're supposed to use income to pay bills. It says you're supposed to use interest, and the one that's supposed to pay interest is the bank. So the problem is we're not enforcing the bank to pay the interest. So
I'm gonna drop that over here.
You don't understand. I'm so like
information.
like
and it's free.
I can't believe
is, when the person read this, y'all gotta remember when we read things like the word person, we gotta understand there's a private word. There's two sides.
Means
there's public,
yes.
Meaning there's a law meaning to person. A person can be Bank of America. A person can be the state of Florida. A person can also be a natural person like myself. So when you understand when you're doing business with persons, your all caps name is a business name. So that name is what accrues interest. But I don't want to go too far in it. But
no, I want you to go too far. I'm loving this.
But yeah, so when you read this, it's not gonna make sense the first time. It's not supposed to make sense the first time. It's like riding a bike. You didn't know it the first time riding. You had to fall off a couple times.
Sometimes I gotta read something 3 times to really process it.
I'm like, I read it, I hear it, I write it. Once I write it, it pretty much sticks. But I was just telling somebody
that. They said that's the 3 levels of manifestation: reading it, writing it, and saying it.
Sometimes levels of comprehension too.
Yes.
Because if you're not comprehending what you're reading, you just kind of read.
Just exactly.
No, absolutely.
And that's one thing that even with everything, just trying to soak up everything. As you said, I am an information junkie. Like when I get into it with people, but it was one of those seasons, like I was in that season of my life. Like I just wanted to take in information. Like I want to feed myself as much as it is. And then it's just like, exactly. And then that repetition over time, like I have people hold my hand. I have 1,000,001 questions and I want to know, to understand. She calls me she doesn't understand something, she'll call me, this and that and the third. And I'm like, yeah, no, but if you go over there, ask this, ask that, and you're going to get the response that you're looking for. And we'll go ahead and feed it off of each other. Because sometimes I'll call her too, and I'm like, this is what it is. And she's like, wait, but what did you just say? And just like kind of just go through it again just so that we can get that. Because I used to do insurance. I finally retired from insurance. I can finally say that. But I did it for 10 years. And I was on both PNC and like life health insurance as well. And one time I was on the phone with a client. I saved her like $6,000. $6,000 is nothing. But it was something for her. And she's like, I need you to do something before you go get your new car, because we were just having a conversation. She goes, go on this site, go on the interest calculator and see. Please do not pay interest on anything. And
this is the first time I've heard of this.
And it was one of those things that I was like, okay. So when you just said what you said to me, it just brought me back, because this was in March.
You know, I'm going to go a little deeper, because it's just, you're not supposed to pay interest. The thing is, we're not leaving, and again, no offense to no corporations out there. There's a lot of corporations that has been built off the ignorance of the people.
Correct.
Like, meaning when we don't know something, we go sign up for something.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, the lack of us not knowing, that's why I say the more you know, the less you're going to pay. The less you know, the more you're going to pay. So imagine not knowing nothing.
Well, that's what I want to ask then. Like, how do you deal with that adversity when you're dealing with people that you're giving this information to, but they're looking for almost you to do the work for them?
They
but
call
they're
me scammer. They say
no, they pull out
everything. But I have to remember, I'm dealing with grown babies. No offense to no one.
Correct.
But I have to remember,
That's
as far
what
as
it
mentality,
is.
Exactly.
it's like a kid wanting something, like, give me candy now. And it's
when
like,
we just don't
Save me
react to
money.
that.
exactly. It's like, well, you can learn this for yourself. I don't do it. I don't have no service that does it for anybody.
Correct.
That's not my place. Because as soon as I do it for somebody, that's somebody letting them. That's basically them letting the state know that I don't have capacity to do it myself.
Correct.
And the rewards for this is for the person that can be due diligent, understand the information, enforce. Okay, go through the trials and tribulations, because it's not for somebody that just hears for one time. Like, okay, let me get all my money back for my car. I want my down payment back too. And it's like, that sounds great, but you got to put in a performance.
Correct.
'Cause just with any contract, and I'm a sports guy, so I'll bring it back to sports. Like, just like in the NBA, when they sign a contract, do they pay? No, they don't, do they? When they sign a contract, they receive payment as the payee.
Correct.
You got to understand accounting terms.
Yeah.
All right? The company that we sign with or get a car from or get an apartment from or a mortgage, they're the payors. They're the ones that issue the payment. We're the ones that receive the payment, which is the payee.
Correct.
When you understand what the payee is not supposed to pay.
Correct.
But right now, we're paying as the payee. So imagine a creditor that's actually the borrower, meaning the banks is actually the borrower, but they acting like the creditor.
Correct.
So now I can come to you and say, hey, you're going to give us 36% APR rate each and every month. And I'm like, okay, well, I want my APR rate down because that's good for me, and that's not good. The higher your APR rate, that means the more they have to pay you. So it's literally, you got to flip everything you even think about business. That's the most difficult part of this, because they'll say, yeah, right, try that, watch them go get your car. Yeah, they will. Because if you don't do this right, they're going to come get your car.
Correct.
If you don't do this right, they're going to evict you. If you don't do this right, they're going to close down your credit cards.
Correct.
Because this is for the ones that can do this correctly.
No
not
cutting
somebody
corners with this
exactly,
info.
not for the desperate. That's why I don't really personally help desperate people, because desperate people are not in the state of receiving information.
Correct.
They're in the state of, okay,
Like
let me
fast.
get some
Let me
now,
just
right
get-
now,
exactly.
and then let me get to a point of, okay, being able to receive information. I remember when I was in desperate situation, you could have told me the exact way to get out of my situation, but I was so desperate, I didn't hear nothing. I was like, man, I don't want, you know what I'm saying? And I understand that. So I try to tell folks, just relax, try not to stress, even though I know it's easier said than done.
Correct.
But the first thing you got to do is breathe. Second thing you got to do is go read your contract. Because once you start reading your contract, you start seeing that there's perks in your contract that you can use to pay off your contract. It's called a security interest. We don't know what security interest is. No matter if you're black, white, Spanish, okay, a lot of folks don't know security interest.
Yeah.
All right, they think it's, well, the security interest is the house. No, it's not. The house was a gift for you investing in that corporation. So remember, they didn't call you and say, give me your social, give me your name. You went to them and say, hey, I like this apartment. I want to invest in your company. Here's my social, here's my first name, last name, and here's my application. That application is a security collateral. But if you don't tell them to use that to pay all debts owed, guess what they're going to do? Say, hey, do you got the payment? And what we going to do? We're going to be paying. You see what I'm saying? It's a lack of information, not even lack of money, lack of information. So that's why I say information changes lives.
And speaking of information, that's why I didn't go to college. I feel like I just learned more just in the last few minutes of him talking than I learned in my whole high school career.
But with you even saying that, I did go to college, and even just there was like 2 main classes just in social environments and just on business and just getting through life. I was the oldest one because I waited after to go to college. I told myself if I wasn't in school, like if I didn't have anything going career-wise, by the time I was 21, I was going to go back to school. So that's what I did. And in there, I was the oldest one. I'm in class with 17-year-old kids just goofing off. And we had to do like a presentation and like what we wanted our future to look like. And I kid you not, I changed a whole bunch of lives just because I was just trying to be that person in there because I received so much information. I'm like, listen, y'all better get it together now. Like, you guys are 17, 18 years old. You guys
this is
are.
The time.
Yes,
it's
and you guys are in the
time.
right place because you know how, like, that, what is it? Dual enrollment. You're in high school, but you're in college for
college
free.
as well,
Exactly. So I'm like, you guys are already a step ahead. The simple fact that you guys are in this classroom right now, take advantage of that. I think I had like 3 of their numbers, still do. They call, they ask questions, but yes, sometimes, I mean, in certain things, I think that it is beneficial to go to college just because my input in certain things gave me a different perspective as I was transitioning to be a single mom. I went to school with 3 of my kids and doing the presentation. I was one of those people that had to do that. And guess what? It was what it was. It was just like, you know what?
Hats
this
off
is
to
what
you,
I
girl.
want, and this is what I'm going to do. But
because a lot of women don't do that. Not saying that they can't. It's just too difficult for them. Like, hey, I got to go. I know I got some family members that would have been great in college, but they had kids and they had to kind of change their whole journey.
Correct.
So kind of hear that, just me personally, I want you to tell folks that. Like,
yeah,
hey,
no.
you
can
Listen, I have a video
Encourage.
just because I was like, I recorded one day because I was like, y'all wouldn't believe me if I told y'all. Like, I'm here with my 3 kids. My daughter was the youngest. I think she was barely walking, probably in the stroller. I had her in the backseat, Amora, and Junior and Nevaeh, they had their iPads sitting in the back of the class. I was doing a presentation. My teacher let me do the presentation, got it, and took the kids and gone. But in that, it's just like, wow, I'm about to walk in here with all my kids. I have to do this. Like, I can't not do this, you know? And even for my kids,
motivating.
just to show them, like, by any means possible, listen, we got to do something. They didn't say I can't bring my kids to school. I didn't ask. I would just showed up like, I'm here. I'm about to do this, and we're gonna keep that.
You kind of care what nobody thought. You got some people that say, I ain't doing that.
Oh no,
being
but I
embarrassing myself,
definitely
and
like. If I told you guys that was the worst day of my life, I kid you not, because I went with one. I had to leave school, go back to go get the other ones, and come back. That day was an unforgettable
did
day.
it, though.
But you did.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's like I like speak like this because it's just like even with the information, no matter where you are, I feel like every job that I had, I was a preschool teacher when I first became a mom. I was forced to take an early childhood class to learn how to deal with children from birth to 5 years old. Now I'm a fresh mom. When I did that, I was like, every freaking parent on earth needs to understand how a child is, how their child mind works. Because, I mean, I'm sure you dealing with the youth in the community, just learning and observing their patterns and your personal experience and just trying to understand where that programming goes. They try to tell me that they started wanting me to keep an eye on my son. He might have, just like me, ADHD. And my mom didn't give me pills when I was young, and I just drank coffee all my life. I was like, I'd be damned. I put my kid in a different environment. It was a Christian school, faith-based. And I tell you, everybody that sees my child right now literally tells me, what did you do? What did you do?
Thanks.
And listen, my son will praise and sing and do everything. And I'm like, listen, regardless of what it is, I'm going to make sure that like I have that and you do have control of that. And with everybody is sitting in this room right now, like this is why this is one of my favorite episodes because you guys are really in the community and being that example. And no matter what the background is, and we can relate and everything like that, and just helping those that are in places where we used to be.
Facts.
And also, because you mentioned like talking to the kids and stuff, Frankie over here, my son actually used to go to his, he's the director also at the Boys and Girls Club. And
I used to go to a Boys and Girls Club.
No, I'm talking about he's so involved. There's been days like I'll go pick up my son and he's like one-on-one, like talking to him, like trying to understand the problem of what's going on. And it's like, some people don't do that. Sometimes some people be like, I'm about to call your mom and she'll let her deal with it. He's like so hands-on. Like, I could not have been more thankful.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I don't want to, but I do have a question for you because even with her even mentioning that, I did see on your social media about you talking, what was it? Social, emotional.
SEL.
Yes.
Social, emotional.
That I think
that?
is very, very, very important.
So it's funny that you brought that up because when I first started working there, I started hearing these words, and I'm like, what the heck is that? Now, I mean, I got 2 little ones, so social emotional learning is basically that's certain individuals. I hate calling them members, I call them families.
Yeah.
So young kids that identify with certain type of structures that you have to tap in with them with, right? So you'll have a child that has an IEP. That's cool, right? And then they come to the aftercare or the camp, and they say, okay, cool, this kid can't go to this field trip for today. That's a trigger. Because that child is already used to hearing no. That child already hears singled out, like, you're a bad kid, this, that, and the third. So when I hear that, I see that, I pull into the side, I'm like, yo, let's talk, let's parlay. Sometimes these kids need these one-on-ones. They need to walk around. Sometimes being in camp for like 8 hours a day and seeing the same scenery is very detrimental, right, mentally.
Right.
Sometimes that's why I always implement transitions, right? You need to understand these children because a lot of these children are coming from a background where parents never got it themselves. They still suffering from mental health issues. They're still trying to figure it out. They're still church hurt, childhood hurt, and things like that. Now you got a little one that's coming to you saying, I want to do this, and this is how I feel. You're like, what you talking about? You need to toughen up. It don't work like that.
Correct.
Sometimes you got to step and shift a little differently so that way that child can understand that I do have support, but I also can come to my mom. Because sometimes what I realize is I may not want to talk to my father. I may not want to talk to my mother. I want to talk to somebody in the school because that I see 8 hours a day, 16 hours a day. I want to go talk to Mr. Frankie. So I got to make sure that I'm always available.
My
you know
son loves
what I mean?
Mr. Frankie.
Yeah,
He's like, Mom.
And you guys want to know something funny? So Knightley, the one that owns the studio, his mother-in-law is my 7th grade teacher. And that was somebody just like that I seen every day. Whenever I went through something, that lady knew me inside and out. And it's crazy because I did have that outlet. And I would just never wanted to. I don't know. I felt like I didn't have that relationship with my mom. But now my mom's my best friend. My mom, if I drop dead tomorrow, my mom's going to know why.
It's experience, though.
Exactly.
It's experience, though. Like, you got something to relate with your mother.
Correct.
A lot of parents think they have to know it, like, right then and there. Nah, it's trial and error.
Yeah.
It may not work this time. Sometimes I'm hard on myself, like, I got to be a father for my son. Okay, what does that look like, Frank, for him? You know what I mean? What does that look like for my daughter?
Like self,
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's like ego. You saying I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah.
It
It takes away from his experience.
Yeah.
I got to make my dad proud instead of making myself proud.
Exactly.
So when they be like, okay, Frank, pat yourself on the back, you did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, nah, well, I don't understand what I did. I ain't help nobody. So, like you said, you got to relearn certain things. Yeah, I get a little hot when I talk.
No.
I apologize.
No, you're doing
Most
amazing.
dead,
Even with the having the outlet at school or outlet outside the family, I just remember being young, and I had both of my parents, but like you said, sometimes you don't want to talk to them. You don't want to go wrong. You don't want to dad. It might be somebody at school that's way just like vibe with you. Like, man, I rock with them. I can tell them certain things.
Exactly.
And I
You
just
can't
remember
tell your
having
family.
I remember having that person where you can talk to them. When they tell you something, it kind of hit different. Like, okay, I'm gonna listen to them.
Yeah.
They kind of.
You ever heard that saying that kids, like, they get comfortable around their parents? That's why a lot of kids act up with their parents. They can't talk to their parents, but as soon as they get around somebody that they're not around all the time, they're calmer. They're more open to talk to you. It's like a mental thing.
Yeah, I always try to tell my oldest, she just turned 10, and I'm like, I'd rather you come tell me than anybody else come tell me. I want you to understand that this is a safe place. Like, you can talk to me. I'm not going to get upset. Like, I need you to, like, I don't know how else to make my child more comfortable just to be that, because one big thing, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I had this child. Like, I'm not changing my lifestyle for this child. And I'm like, are you stupid or dumb? Not for nothing. I don't want no judgment upon anybody. If you're going to rock, that's how it is. But for me, like, to even take a step away from my relationship just to be a single mom. And I just told myself, like, I'm dedicated to go ahead and set a certain example in a certain atmosphere. People make fun of me. I play church music all the time in my house, just setting that atmosphere inside the house. And they're like, oh, you got church going on here. Yeah, if that's what you want to call it. But exactly. And one thing it is, when my kids go to sleep at night, I tell you, they put their music on. And they, like, my youngest, she'll go ahead, take her iPad, go put her music on, and she'll be out in seconds. Yes.
They ain't playing certain music.
No,
like,
exactly. And it's just because of that. Yeah, of course.
No, for sure.
But yeah, and just being that for them, because a lot of people don't have that at all. And just tapping into mindset, like for you.
If you don't mind.
Can you explain why it's so important just on that financial literacy side, wanting to like change that lifestyle, like the type of mindset that you have? I feel like most people have to, I feel like I'm a routine person. So it's like, there's non-negotiables for the day, guys. So it's just like, how do you feel like that mental, like the mindset dealing with financial literacy and having that discipline to be successful? Because if you're not exposed to it, it's just like, how do I become like alert to know that I am staying consistent to make that change and break through?
I say it all goes back to having the competitive nature. See, I got to think a lot of us went to school, we played sports, team sports. You got a lot of folks that didn't.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you don't have that team atmosphere, meaning somebody challenge you and saying, hey, we need you to do this for the greater good of the team.
Correct.
Then when you get into real life, you don't understand the aspect of, man, I got to hold my own regardless how I feel.
Yeah.
So when you don't have that team aspect, a lot of folks don't have that competitive nature. So when you face the real world, because in this finance world, you're going to get told no a lot of times.
Yeah.
The power is to be told no 4 times, and then on that 5th time, have them change their mind.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get told yes the first time,
I heard
second time,
7
third time. But a lot of people quit that first time. Like, they said, no, it just didn't work. I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
And don't understand, you got to, it's due diligence.
Yeah.
Keeping it going.
Okay.
Stand with
And
it.
I'm glad you said that, because I just had a business meeting the other day, and the person said coming back that 5th time, but there's a difference between being a pest and being persistent.
Exactly.
And like a pest is going to come back every time with the same info about the same thing. Being persistent, they going to come back with something new each time. And that 5th time is when you get your yes, when you get a different answer.
Man, it's crazy y'all said. I had just came back from Mexico. I had a flight watching a movie called A Million Miles Away. So if y'all ever get a time, go watch it. It's called A Million. You seen it?
No, I never seen
I'm
it.
about to say it.
Netflix?
It's called, it's on, it was on the Delta.
A million
Okay,
miles
okay,
away.
okay,
A
okay.
million miles away. It was about a dude. It was Hispanic. They moved from Mexico to America, and basically he wanted to be an astronaut. He went from the fields to being able to be an astronaut, but he got told no 14 times from NASA. But this woman was like, does that mean you need to stop? She stayed on him, and that 15th time he became an astronaut.
Oh my
So
God.
it was just like throughout the
that.
movie, it just shows like keep going,
Keep
and
going.
he physically took his application to NASA that 15th time.
I know
He
that's
said,
right.
this is my
wow.
14th. Because dude was like, we have 10 of your applications. He said, no, 14 of my applications. He
Yeah.
made sure to let
I
him
know
know that I'm
that's
going to come
right.
back next time
If you
deny
don't,
it.
yeah.
And over the time, he kept, like you say, he kept building on more skills.
Yes.
Like you say, don't come back with the same information, come back with more. He
Correct.
came back with 700 hours of diving. He came back with 700 hours of different training you have to do to be an astronaut. He did it on his own. So every time he went back, his resume was beefed up. Then he was
See,
able to be
being
an astronaut.
And that's why I feel like even for me, when I was in that season of just being a student, just to like listen and take note and just like bring it all in. And then there's that season to apply it. So it's not like, even if you guys do get the information today, go ahead and just soak it in, do your own research, and then go ahead and get a little bit more and keep that repetition, because I just feel like mentally, like our mind is the biggest battle. And at the end of the day, like you said, we have to reprogram. And I know that I'm in that season of reprogramming, because even when I get information, I'm like, this is too good to be true. You telling me we've been living like this the whole time? No, all jokes aside. And it's like, I'm not in my 30s just yet. I'm crawling there. But I'm like, I'm so excited. Everybody's like, oh, turning 30. I'm like, I'm ready to turn 40. If I'm getting all this information now, I can't wait just applying everything and just letting everything unfold on its own, because I'm just like hungry just for that time to hurry up and come, because I'm like, I'm doing it. And
You know what I realized though, like throughout the whole journey, right? But you always got to take time to really like reflect on yourself.
Yes.
Cause like this, I can honestly say like this past probably 2 seasons of my life, I'm like, I could say like I'm tapped in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I look back, I'm like, okay, thank you God for this. Yeah, I got all these accolades, boom, boom, boom. I don't even think about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's more so like, do I know me though?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If I shift this way, like, would I be able to really understand, okay, Frank, you need to be here. Even if 50 people come to me and be like, nah, you don't look good over there. I know I need to be there.
Correct.
So like having that faith, having that perseverance, having that one-on-one salvation, you know, with the Most High is like, has been really grounding for me. Like,
so do you have a daily routine just to keep yourself on that track is what I'm going to ask, because I have like my self-awareness, just like being cautious and podcasting. I don't like to listen to music anymore. Like I've been in like my reading podcast season. If it ain't feeding me, I don't want to hear it. I'll turn the radio off. But what is it that you do like on a daily to keep you grounded in that, so that you don't lose sight and like you're the tunnel vision all the time?
That's a gorgeous question. So I always revert back to scripture, like with the word. That's funny. And he says, like, pick up your cross and follow me.
Yes.
Right? So I can't pick up his cross. It may be too heavy or it may be too light. So I take off running. You know what I mean? So I'm picking up my cross every day. I was like, okay, bad friend, you got to do this. I got kids I got to shift to. Like, you know, the Bible says to those who are called, or even like heavy is the crown, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? My head is mad heavy. But I ask God for that. I say, yo, bless me with your heart. Yeah. If you bless me with your heart, I'll make the right decision most of the time because I still have free will.
Yes.
So how do I do it every day? Is like, on a day-to-day basis, I keep myself grounded. Okay, Frank, this is what happened today. This is what happened yesterday. This is what you feeling. So be emotionally intelligent so you don't take it out on somebody else. And when I do, it's like, then I got to reflect and be like, okay, I need to shift a different way. So every day is just a challenge. I don't even have a routine.
Yeah.
But I make sure while everybody's sleeping at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, if I do wake up, I don't jump on my phone. And if I do, it's to feed my soul. Because everything's quiet. Even if you go to the beach, the waters ain't even quiet.
That's my favorite.
You know
I like
mean?
to go just hear that cry.
Yeah, that 3 a.m. Like, it's just,
Yeah, because they
you know?
actually say, studies say, and millionaires actually have attested to this, when you wake up in the morning, the first 15 minutes, you should not even touch your phone.
At all.
Yeah, I keep a bottle of water, like
Yeah,
literally
likewise,
just,
yeah.
I've been trying to
Yeah.
just do that. I got like a half-gallon water bottle that helps me every day. Just make sure I have that water intake,
Most
that I'm
definitely.
just like clear mentally, but I do stick in a routine. Having 3 kids by myself, I have to be in a routine. Yeah. It's just like, and for them just to see that, like when we wake up in the morning and that alarm goes off, everybody knows. Everybody on something. I have the dog. I'm walking the dog. Once I come back in from walking that dog, y'all up brushing your teeth. Like everybody knows. And it's not even to be that military lifestyle because people see my kids and they're like, oh, your kids are on here, or your kids do whatever you want. Oh, your kids are so bright. How did you get her? Why is she like, you know? And sometimes they'll have their moments, they're kids, you know? So when they have that where they're tapped out and like they show now they're emotional, they might be overstimulated, tired. Like I have to understand, okay, it's that time, let's go. We'll just like head out. Like I already know what it is. But again, just being in tune. But I definitely am on a routine.
What's that?
I love that. Mansa, I have to ask, could you highlight a particular success story that stands out to you in your work over the past years?
I think the most thing that has ever stuck out, and it's easy to go to, I had a seminar in L.A. 300 people came out, and I want to say one of my students was able to get remedy with his house, was able to literally discharge his house. So he brought his sons, which was like 19 and 20 with him.
Wow.
Okay, so when he came, so I do meet and greet at the end of all my events. So I do meet and greet. So when he came, like he had like tears in his eyes. And when like this is the first time this has ever happened. Like, and he's way bigger than me. I'm talking about mammoth of a man. So he showed me something on his hand. He had HCA. That's my brand, H.O.O.D Consumer Advisor. H.O.O.D is acronym for helping ourselves overcome debt. So I don't want nobody to think it's like the trap or like some.
Oh, yeah.
This is
That's
right
what
here.
that is. So I
Yes.
don't want nobody to think it's like some like ghetto hood.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
it's not that. It's
Right.
helping ourselves overcome debt. Consumer Advisor.
I love that.
So he got HCA tattooed on. He was like, look right here, look right here. I didn't know what it was. He had other tattoos. And I was like, what I'm looking at, he said, look, man, I'm HCA affiliated. I'm HCA. And like to see tears go out, he's like, man, you would help me in ways I've never even thought could be help. You know what I'm saying? So when I
Yeah.
seen that, I'm like, yo, this is a grown man with his 2 grown sons, like crying right here. And it wasn't a goofy situation. It just made me feel like, dang, I'm doing the
You're
right
really
thing.
changing lives,
Yeah,
helping
that's
families.
that's what showed
And
me,
even
like,
just
okay.
changing that
Wow.
one and
Yeah.
impacting that one. And even for his sons to witness
Exactly,
it,
for his
that right
sons.
there is like the gift that you know that not only dad got it, but his sons witnessed it. And now I'm standing here in this moment. Like, it's possible.
Possible.
No, yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. But you know what, beautiful things, there's like negative things that could follow. So like, what are some common challenges or misconceptions you often encounter when it comes to financial empowerment, and how do you address them?
The biggest problem is when people see something and think it's easier said than done, or easier done than said. They think they can just, okay, I'm gonna go do this, and a lot of people put themselves in situations way worse than they would have been if they didn't even know this information.
Correct.
So you got folks that hear this information, say, okay, I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna do this like he said, and they might put themselves in a situation that they don't know how to stand up. You have to be able to enforce your rights. At the end of the day, you have to be able to stand on your rights, because if not, they're going to walk all over you.
And knowing your rights to enforce them.
Exactly. You can't just say, I know my rights. You got to know exact code. And if that code fits that specific situation, okay, now again, I don't give legal advice, but I give lawful information.
Correct.
Okay, when you see the lawful information, then that's your advice right there. The Congress gives you your advice. They say, when this situation happens, go here. If this situation happens, go here. All right, a lot of times we don't really know. There's a major, I'm going to say this quick thing. There's a major act called Truth in Lending. Everybody look this up, write it down.
Truth in Lending.
Truth in Lending Act. The Truth in Lending Act was passed in 1968. All right, do everybody know who passed away in 1968?
No.
Martin Luther King. Oh. So, me personally, I don't think it was a coincidence. All right? One of the biggest acts was passed for all consumers, basically forcing banks to lend truthfully. Because think about it, why would Congress have to come down and label an act called Truth in Lending? They would just say Lending Act.
Correct.
But the fact that they had to say Truth in Lending, because for so many years, banks was lending untruthfully, like meaning telling the consumers that they're the borrowers. Had borrowers losing houses and had people losing cars, animals, farms. So they had to come out with okay, wait a minute, Truth in Lending Acts.
Yeah.
But the problem was something major happened during that time and got all our focus off. So we was distracted by what was going on, not saying that death was in vain, but it's just saying there was a distraction that went on when that law was passed. So then I looked up at all timelines of every significant person that passed away. John F. Kennedy, 1962. Okay, he passed the Consumer Bill of Rights in 1962, meaning the Consumer Bill of Rights gave you the right to be heard, your right to safety, your right to redress, meaning if you see a problem in your contract that's not beneficial to you, you can change it, which is huge.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? Meaning if that down payment isn't beneficial to me, I don't got to put down a down payment.
Correct.
Literally, you see what I'm saying? But if you don't know how to enforce that, because of course they're going to say, no, sir, you got to pay a down payment. Then it's like, well,
I'm
not
like
necessarily. With the law, it says I don't. Yeah, so
Tell me more.
It's information. That's why I said Truth in Lending Act. Specifically, Title 15. Title 15 is Truth in Lending. So Title 15, and I would say you can go to USC 1605, talks about a finance charge. When you understand the finance charge, you can really do some amazing things. The finance charge covers all fees in the account. So meaning, if I go get a car, okay, y'all know how they give us separate charges like, okay, service fee.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
Down payment. Oh, you got to get
extended
insurance.
warranty.
And then it ends up being like a couple thousand, and then you never, the money that you put down, you never see it coming out of the payment for the car.
Because that was a gift. We didn't read our contract where it said, it literally said you're buying this car on a fight for credit or cash. So if I'm using my Social Security credit card, and I'm putting it on the application, and then I'm coming out my pocket and giving you a down payment, that's fraud, because that's two different payments. That's commingling. That's credit and cash.
I'm going to walk out of here.
You see what I'm saying?
This is crazy. I wish we would have met like a couple years ago when I got my car.
But you learned it at the right time, because we had to go through it like, dang, I had a whole bunch of cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to. You can't mess with your destiny. But that's why I even said.
Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this?
I'm just like... I gotta readjust my whole life.
I'm baffled.
The insurance. So when you said the insurance, my mind instantly went to 15 USC 1605 because when you sign your contract for your car, you're supposed to include life insurance, medical insurance,
and that's
car
something
insurance
and
in the car contract. That's why all these life insurance,
correct.
It's not even supposed to be around.
That's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm not here to step on nobody's business, but I'm just saying when folks understand what's going on.
With common sense, though.
Man.
Because you get the whip, and it's like, okay, you need life insurance just in case something happens.
Exactly.
You need medical just in case something happens.
I say if you have kids,
I mean?
you need life insurance.
Oh, right.
Like,
you do have life insurance with a kid, but if you don't include it in the contract, then you don't have life insurance. Because whatever you don't say,
because
they use against you.
exactly. I was going to say that for life insurance, I remember that there is a stipulation in some contracts, not every contract, but like let's just say it's like a suicide or whatever. There's certain things if you die a certain way, I'm just you caught me. I'm going down a rabbit hole.
No, listen, we gonna have to chop it up. And Frankie, question. So being recognized with awards like the Local Hero Award and Senator Lewis Public Service Award speaks volumes about your impact. How do these accolades motivate you to continue your work?
I mean, it just reminds me that I'm on the right path. Sometimes we need to see that. Sometimes we need to hear that. Sometimes it's good to get patted on the back. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, like, you go to my crib, like, you don't see nothing posted up. Like, it's in boxes. So my kids, when they get older, I can say, look. But for me, it's like, it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
So when I start getting too boastful, too prideful, I get humbled. I got humbled 2 times in my life.
Tell me, what happened?
Yeah, I was about to say, I want to know.
So a lot,
me too.
Humbled, I'm talking about humble. So a lot of times, like, we pray for certain things, and then it takes time, and you start to understand the formula, how God moves with you. Right? So I know how God moves with me. So, you know, that goes back to God saying you can't judge nobody. That's why it's so gorgeous to give back to the marginalized community, inner city communities, homeless neighbors. Because I don't have no ounce of judgment in me.
Correct.
So I'm going to love you regardless, right?
Yes.
So going back to that, it's like, God will elevate me to the point where it's like, okay, you getting it. Good job. I'm going to give you $1. And that dollar may be major to everybody. It's major to me. That dollar major. And then I start getting to, okay, let me retract a little bit. Okay, I'm chilling. Okay, boom. And it's like, okay, I'm going to humble you. Because this bigger than you. It's never been about you. I rewarded you.
Correct.
And I can't trust you with it. So I'd rather take it away from you so I don't lose you and to build you back up so I can remind you who you are, like who I am.
With me in the center, exactly.
Facts.
And that's something just like that, like I was saying last year. I don't even want to go into depth of what it was, but yeah, I lost everything. And just as far as everything standing, and I know we both went through a similar situation, just having to redo life all over and just really build it up where you do get humbled sometimes. And it was just like me, I just feel like it was a cry more for my spirit because I just got lost and I just didn't know what. And it was just like, I don't judge. Let me go ahead and try this. Let me go ahead and try that. And in life, let me go ahead and not work. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to just figuring it out. And one thing that I can say is in that season of my life, it was just always 1, to keep going, and 2, to keep God in the center of it. And right now, you can ask her. I say it all the time. Everything that I have right now is because of God. Everybody heard me say God got me. Like January, I got my new place. February, I got a new car. March, I walked into work one day and she's like, we were going to fire you because my hourly schedule was like coming off based on what we agreed upon. But I'm here as a retention specialist. I'm here to retain your clients. Your clients depend on me because when I save them money, and 2, y'all need somebody to go ahead and do this because y'all business is going out the door. So she approached me, and it was the way that she approached me is what made me upset because it's like, we were going to fire you, but we didn't. So here, this is what you have to abide by. And I sat there and I looked at her. I was like, and she's reading and she's turning red. Yes, I was the only colored person in the office. And I just sat there. I was like, okay, that was Friday. Tuesday was my last day. And she was like, you're not going to give us a 2-week notice for what? You wanted me gone on Friday.
Yeah, almost there.
And it was just like one of those things like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I kid you not, I had an interview, and I told the guy that I was interviewing with that I had an interview the next day. I ain't never had an interview. I don't know why I said that. But 10 o'clock that next morning, somebody was on my line. I know that you're looking for a job, this, that, and the third, and I kid you not, right now, I am living my dream. I love business and marketing. I love helping.
Care of you. They appreciate you.
Like my flexibility with my children. I get to help businesses. You know the people that I work with, and they are involved in everything. The most humblest, loving people that I have been with, and when I tell you they make sure that they take care of me, I'm like, God, I don't know if I could have appreciated this in any other season of my life if I didn't go through everything that I went through.
And speaking of humbling, I feel like you humbled that lady because now they don't have you. And I'm pretty sure they see you killing it in the other.
And even being here with her, like we've done business for years. Like, and I love Candace because when it comes down to it, it's just like my love and support goes to her because her confidence is everything. I always tell her that all the time. I'm like, girl, I love it. And I always cheer her on. People always like, why you support this one? Why you support? Why you sharing this? Why you sharing that? I love on people trying. Because you know how many people out here hating? Like, that's just one of those things that I love success. I love results. I love people going after what it is. And there's so many people just hating on them. And I lost a friend over my friendship with her, and it was just one of hating, and it's just
I
like,
didn't
for
even know.
what?
I didn't
Yeah,
know.
but and it's one of those
That's a
things
good
that
thing.
is just like.
That's why I say
I didn't even know.
And exactly, and I'd say that I'm living my dream right now. I've always talked about doing podcasts, and I've always done like little things here and there, and I've always put myself, and I've always had my own platform. I've done different things over the years, and people know me to be that positive light. Like when I'm in the room, I like to be a room shifter. I like to go ahead and pour into people. People love drawing to me because of that. And now just being here and doing this with her, I told her, I was like, honestly, I don't think that I would want to do it any other way. And I love
We're like so in sync.
Exactly. And it's just like when we have different things, even if it's not even disagreement, but if certain things are going on where most people would be like, oh, I don't think I can say something, we come to each other and be like, this is what it is, whatever. Even her coming to me and saying anything, we never take it offensive. The way that we receive it with love and just address it and keep it moving, but just that ultimate support. Like, I feel like, again, going through that humbling season right now, I give God the glory for everything.
Let me ask y'all this. So, do y'all think you could? Do y'all think y'all would have value if you didn't go through what you went through?
I had to go through everything that I went through.
I don't think nobody can give value that ain't been through anything.
Exactly.
You have to lose something to be able to tell somebody, okay, the
Go
mindset
ahead.
that you have.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh my goodness! Like if you would ask me, because my big downfall happened February of last year. Like a very few people know exactly what happened, but I'm not gonna get too much into detail. But just know that I went from having a lot, the jewelry, the APs, the Cuban links,
Doing
the
shows,
hundred
cars,
thousands of
trips,
dollars, and stuff
everything.
like that,
Just-
and then all to be taken away from me. And I'm not gonna lie, I've had my instances where like there was a situation where I was outside of Pilos in Wynwood. And I feel like there was some racial stuff going on. And I kind of flexed on the girl. And I was like, girl, my AP costs more than you probably make this whole year working in front of the door. And all of that was taken away from me. You get what I'm saying? And it humbled me. I'm like,
Facts.
it humbled the hell out of me. God was like, you got what for what? I bet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say this, like, no material, none of that stuff don't matter. You want to know what matters? Here and here.
Seriously.
That purpose, spiritual, faith, all of that. That's what really matters because people can't, nobody could, like, the government or whoever can't come take that. Can't come take your faith.
At
They
all.
can't come take your mindset. Can't come take the type of person
Anything,
you
yes.
are from within. They can't come take that. They could come take the physical attributes and stuff like that, but they can't take that. So,
Some people willingly give it up though. That's a whole different type of parlay.
oh yeah, we gonna have to get into that
Yeah, it's a whole
too.
different parlay.
Where are we?
Also, Frankie, what does proclamation of Frankie Pierre-Paul Day in North Miami Beach mean to you, and how does it reflect the significance of your contributions?
Shouts out to Commissioner Gene. You know, in life, you'll meet certain people that really believe in you. Right? Like I'm Palm Beach County, like I show mad love here. Not to throw shade on my county. It's like, dang, like, yeah, I'm Tri-County, I do a lot of things. Most importantly, shouts out to my family, my extended family, Yak, you know, SG, all them boys, because they gave me the opportunity to really showcase my gift.
Yeah.
When it comes down to community, when it comes down to, you know, specific places that need the money, that need the ACs, that need the turkeys, that need the school drives, that need certain things. So I'm able to really effectively outshine.
Yeah.
I love that word. To God be the glory. Yeah. Outshine in my category because I do it so lovingly without expecting anything
Thing
in
in
return.
return.
You know what I mean? Because that's my calling.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody can mimic that. They can try. Say no more, I give you expertise. I'll tell you how to do this, but you can never like give that love that I have because that's what I've been called to do. Many are called, but few are chosen. So, you know what I mean? It means a lot to me. December 14th, Frankie Pierre-Paul Day. That's
I'm gonna
crazy,
put that in
right?
that calendar.
That's crazy. I'm like, what? That's crazy. And that's not even something I talk about because it's like, it's bigger than me. It's always gonna be bigger than me. So I humble myself, but you know, I'm God willing in a few years, not even a few years, maybe this year it's gonna be big. It's gonna get
So I
bigger
have a
and bigger.
question.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to help, donate,
Get
sponsor,
involved.
get involved, how can they get involved?
Before you get involved, like check yourself first.
Okay.
Cause why I say that, there's a lot of food on the table that I say, nah, this ain't for me. And not all money's good money. And not that I make a living off of doing this. It's more so I'd rather really give back because you really want to give back as opposed to you want to give back because you want photo ops or you want to feel good for yourself because you committed some type of sin. But whatever, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What if it's
I
like
have
genuine? Like how if these genuine people out here that want to reach out to you and your organizations to give back, like what do
let's
they
say
do?
even if somebody was to sponsor or do anything like to help, like
So I am Francky Pierre-Paul on Instagram. That's probably the best form of communication. If not, email for the older generation. Francky FRANCKY .pierre26@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. I'm always tapped in. Like I keep saying, it's bigger than me. So if you really, really want to tap in, just reach out to me. Instagram, I am Francky Pierre-Paul, or email Francky.Pierre26.
And I love that. And also, if people want to touch into all of the things like the knowledge,
free information,
how
free money.
Like, how can somebody get? What's the best way to get in contact with you? Because I already know when this live's in, everybody's gonna be blowing me up. Like, how can I get in contact with him? How can they get in contact with you?
I would say the first thing, like my man just said, because that's like the beginning of everything. Like you said, check yourself.
Yes.
Because a lot of people come and just think, oh, I want it too. Like, you gotta be. One thing in contract is called good faith, operating in good faith.
Yes.
Like, so see how contracting resonates with the Bible, because even the Bible talks about we're supposed to forgive our debtors. You know what I'm saying? So it's contract. It's all finances. So it's like once you start really understanding, like, okay, all right, let me start dive into this. But I'll say this. Know why you're doing it. If you're only trying to come to this because you're sick and tired of how you're living, that's not good enough.
correct.
Okay, it's not good enough. It got to be a purpose. Like, okay, I want to do this, my family. I want enough time to spend with my kids. Okay, I want enough time to spend with my family. I want time to spend with myself to learn myself. Because imagine working 84 hours, you don't know yourself.
Don't know yourself.
Correct.
Imagine going from school,
miserable.
from pre-K to 12th grade, then college, and then a work life. You've been working 8 hours a day for that long. You see what I'm saying? Like, we learned how to do 40 hours a week when we was kids.
Yes.
So that's why it's okay when we're older, but we don't understand ourselves because 40 hours is taken away every week.
That's
Right.
true.
So once we really understand this, the purpose of this for me was to really get a hold of my time. Then I could really see, like, what do I like to do? I thought I liked to do that because that's only because I had that time frame to do it. But now I can kind of sit back and really create.
What you, yeah.
Okay, yeah, literally. So I would say just check your heart. It's a lot of work in this. I don't say to deter nobody, but it's a lot of reading. A lot of us ain't read nothing since school.
Yeah, facts.
All right, not just reading it first time. You got to read, like you said, 3 times to be able to comprehend it. You're going to have to Google this word, look in the Black Laws Dictionary. You're going to ask Congress, what is Congress' definition of this word?
Correct.
Because you really have to understand what's going on before you enforce. But if you want to follow me, I got a lot of free information. I don't even like to talk about my class because people are like, you charging for this? It's so much free information, but you do got to pay with attention.
Yes.
Okay, if you want to pay with attention, you want to take the free way. It is a more difficult way because you're on your own, but that's okay. You get to kind of see how far you can get before you feel like you got to take a class.
Correct.
Right.
All right, so I built my foundation from see what you can get for free and then grab the class. Or go to my page, it's Mansa Mahatha 888. The reason why I chose 8 is because 8 means abundance. I love this so much that I tatted on my face.
Wow.
I didn't have no tattoos like up here before all this information, but when I learned this information, I really started living. I really started like, this is what I want to do. All right, I'm going to do this and show folks I can still look like this and still have a conversation about contracting, equity, trust.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But follow my page, Mansa Mahatha 888. I have a mentorship coming up in September. I have a class August 10th coming up with a guy named Dev Hawk, basically showing how child support is really affecting both sides.
I think
so
I've
let me
seen
explain that. Because a lot of people are like, you help these
I
people?
want to hear that. I want to hear.
So what happens is, child support. Everybody got to understand, every time you have a baby at the hospital, okay, the baby, all right, there's 2 things going on. There's a private situation going on and a public situation going on. The public situation going on is the woman having the baby. She names him John Quincy Smith. Okay, that's the public. The private way is the mothership is dropping cargo, which is the bond, the baby. So that's why the doctor asks, what is the baby's name? Really asking you, what is the business name? You're creating a business for your baby when you fill out that birth certificate application.
That's why Jay-Z and Beyonce did what they did.
See what I'm saying? So that's why I started having more kids, but conversation for another day. I started learning, like, oh, okay. A lot of people don't have kids because of what? Finance.
Yeah.
They be like, oh, kids are too expensive.
that?
Yeah, only when you think you got to come out your pocket for your kids. When you understand the state is holding an escrow account for your child, you'll start really understanding, like, wow, wait a minute, I don't really matter what the other opposite party is doing. They can live their life. The benefits from the child's come from the state. All right, so back to the story. All right, so when the woman has the baby, okay, the doctor comes to the woman, asks her, what is the name of the baby? But on the private side, is really what is the name of the business. You're creating a business for your baby, okay? So when they get that application is a security collateral. They take it to the finance department of the hospital. The hospital works hand in hand with the state. So they take that bond and send it to who? The state. So the state holds that bond. That's why when someone goes forth for child support or food stamps or WIC or anything like that, they go after the opposing party and say, you're going to pay, because the opposing party is not coming forth and saying, no, state, I want to go ahead and exercise my right to use my security interest to go ahead and pay for the bond. That's what it's for. But again, it don't get to that point until a person understands contracting. Every time you sign a contract, no matter if it's child support, food stamps, no one's supposed to be paying for food. But what eliminates you from paying for getting food stamps is what? Income. So a lot of people say, well, I can't just not work. Well, technically you can, because there's no law that says you have to work. You're supposed to be claiming revenue, not income. So when I'm reading law, it don't never say anything about the word income. If it did, that's what I'll be talking about. But I don't never see the word income. But one thing I do hear, a lot of people that don't know interest talk about income.
Yeah.
Multiple streams of income. Not multiple streams of interest. That's two different worlds. You're supposed to use interest to pay off contracts, not income. Income is just like something we're doing extra, in which it basically waives all our government
So can we have a part 2 of this podcast?
Yes, like I feel like, oh my God, I want to learn more.
I'm like,
Yeah,
wait. But no, we have to wrap up.
No, yeah, I appreciate you guys. I feel like I've learned more just in this, like, conversation than I've learned in my whole high school, because I didn't go to college, my high school career, and I appreciate you guys both for that. And I love what you guys are doing in the community. Like, it's literally unmatched. Like, I can't remember last time I was in front of two gentlemen that just does so much for the community. So definitely hats off to you guys.
Love.
You guys are amazing, and your guys' kids should be proud. Your family should be proud. Like, honestly, definitely pats on your backs for that, which I don't even need to tell y'all that, because y'all already know, and I'm pretty sure y'all hear it all the time. And I appreciate you. It was amazing, and thank you guys for catching up with Candace. Until next time.
Peace. Appreciate it.
And that's a wrap on another episode of Caught Up with Candace. Thank you so much for tuning in and keeping up with all the latest topics and discussions. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. Your feedback means a lot. Stay connected with Candace on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes moments, and sneak peeks into upcoming episodes. You can find Candace on Instagram at Caught Up with Candace. Remember, stay informed, stay inspired, and stay connected. Until next time, keep shining and staying caught up with Candace. See you next time.